Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. So without wasting any time, let's move to the newspaper. First we will identify the important news and then we'll move on to the analysis section. So good morning everyone, this is Wednesday, May 18, 2022, the Hindu Daily Edition, right? So we'll be first identifying the most important news as usual and then it would be followed by a detailed discussion of the same. So without wasting any time, let's move further. Sweden has signed NATO request hence to formally endorse the move, okay? Just know this thing, these are the developments in Europe. Inflation in wholesale price touches record 15.1% in April, means WPI has become 15.1%. This is worrisome because inflation is not being tamed, is not showing signs of taming, right? And let's see. Secure sibling area in Gyanvapi Mosque, say Supreme Court, okay. Fine. Ukraine troops surrender in Mariupol steel plant. Okay, you must know about the steel plant, its location, right? Because it has been in news for some times now. Okay. Twin tower blast deadline. Okay. But endorse there is no right. Mamta to police. Okay. We'll see this thing today with exam point of view, not with this other point of view, right? We'll be seeing it with exam point of view. Okay. Urge Kashmiri Pandit to stay put. Okay. No, nothing here. Water production, they know. Water production. Okay. Rising solo, no. Industry support from his party and several critical issue walks a tightrope. Look how they are writing this. They are this news. Actually, it is nothing to do with examination, but let me give you a glimpse of some perspective. Rising solo, the challenge of being Amanatullah Khan means the newspaper wants to say that this person is Muslim, therefore his life is being challenged. His life is challenging, okay, and party is not supporting him. Sir, he is accused of bomb blasts. He is accused of riots, okay, and riots of stone pelting and all those things. And you want to say that this person is being has a challenging life because he is a Muslim. This is the faulty thing of these newspaper. They go on to first say that the person is being harassed and all those things, and then when that person becomes a hardcore criminal, then they say that it is a fault of government that they have harassed him. Sir, he has the criminal intent from beginning only, right? It is yet to be proved. Therefore, I don't go for these news because this is purely rubbish news with respect to examination. Okay, let's see if anything else is left. Sharad Pawar supports Kolhapur. No, not required. The world must live and work together. The idea of one common humanity out to be strengthened, not destroyed, as virus and the war have done. Not required. Symbolism and Beyond. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visit to Rimuni served a useful but limited purpose. Okay, we'll see this. How it is useful, but how it is limited. This can be a good. This can give us some good points, right? Social science operate with multiple truth. Okay. We'll do this also very briefly. Through thought and action, Chintan Shivir did nothing is required there. A concerted effort in re-imaging museums, not required. Improving cold chain system, yes, this is required. Robust cold chain system and investment in India's future pandemic preparedness, obviously. Okay, so this is a good thing. We'll be doing this also very briefly. Look, all articles are not important, as I have always said, right? Gyanvapi and Places of Worship Act, yes, this needs to be done. Okay, we'll read the gist first and see if anything is there. Boon to ban, how wheat export story changed in 2 months. What was the reason for sudden decision by government? Okay. We'll do the gist also first. Let's see why the government has done this. And government has said that due to domestic market challenges and to ensure the food and nutritional security of India, they have done that. We'll see. This is related to Sri Lanka, not required. This is the poster of Mother India. Okay. Is there anything else? Kannada TV actress died during fat reduction surgery. Oh. Cotton price TN MPs to meet ministers in Delhi. No. G7 likely to increase pressure to reverse wheat ban, export ban. India to prepare in high level meeting on food security. Okay. Advocate Commissioner was sacked for leaking survey information. Yes, yes, this is the news. Places of Worship Act does not apply to Gyanvapi. Vishwa Hindu Parishad says so. Qutub Minar was built after. Everything not required. BJP is trying to break India. Dharm Sansad Tyagi gets interim bill for 3 months. No. Partial resolution on limitation not required. Change to biodiversity law will weaken it. Now we have to see what changes are there, right? 1 in 6 global death linked to pollution. This is good news. Not in that manner. This is a news that is important to our examination. Mame Khan to perform at Keynes. Who is this Mame Khan? 3 of the tribal have no prepare for multi-domain challenges. 5 justices to be elevated as Chief Justice of the High Court. Okay, Marita rape. Petition filed in SC appealing. SC split verdicts. Okay, avian enthusiasts flock together for Himalayan exercise. Not required. Finland, Sweden to submit NATO membership bid today. Turkey say cannot allow to become the member. US top court declines to stop deportation of Indian citizen. Okay, there is nothing here. Poison of white supremacy. US Fed no, not required. Yes, we know that. Review below issue price while Sensex rallies. Okay, center likely to defer April GST deadline. Okay, I don't see any important news here. And now we are on the sports page. As usual, we won't find any much important news on this page with respect to our examination, of course. And so, yes, with this we have completed identifying the most important news. Now let us analyze the same. Okay. So I said that we'll see what are the possible questions from this Gyanvapi mosque issue. Look, if an issue has been daily news for some time, just before interview, then it is very important, right? Especially if it has been something international or something very related to Indian society culture, right? Then it becomes very important for interview people, because that is what is on the minds of the interview panel. But as far as prelims is concerned, it will never ask you question like these things, that what is the status of Gyanvapi Masjid, what is the places of worship act. They will not. At most it can be written as a point in any of the answers related to Indian social fabric. Okay, so you have to understand these things, that what is the scope of any question that is possible in any examination. Okay, so with this background, let's see what scope is there. Now see, there is a term called Shivling. Okay, so the first question can be where was, or better say which civilization worshipped Linga and Yoni. You know this was Indus Valley civilization, the first civilization, right? Which civilization first, right? This could be one of the things. Second, the architecture form. What is the form? Nandi facing towards the ling. Okay, so what form is this? This is more of a form of Chandela style, right? So you have to know this style also, that is it a form of Chandela style or Orissa style, or what it is, or Orissa or Jagannath Puri style, or what kind of style it is, right? The third question is right, Gyanvapi mosque area and Gyanvapi mosque, right? So these two questions are most important from here. The third question can be that maybe very less possibility of this, that Monuments Act, right? What is the name of that act? Whatever is it? Is it the statutory provisions related to it, right? So these things you must know. Only these things you need to know, not more than this, not less than this. Why? Because it is not expected for the commission to ask something that is under trial, or that is there with the judiciary, right? Therefore these things have to be understood in this perspective. You understand now? Okay, just have a look at the location of this. Fine, location of Mariupol steel plant. That's it. Okay, not more than that. If anything more than that comes, then possibly no one will be able to answer that, and that won't make up the cutoff. Always remember, cutoff of prelims is decided by easy questions. If there are 50 easy questions, cutoff will be about 100 to 105 or 95 to 105, right? If there are 45 easy questions, cutoff will be almost 95, 90 to 95. So it goes like this, as simple as that. Do not worry for tough questions, they will never make up the cutoff because no one knows that. Therefore it is tough, no? If you have studied properly for a longer duration in your life, then how you wouldn't be knowing a fact, so you would be surprised by some fact in the question. You understand this? Now we'll do the editorial, op-ed, text and context pages at last as usual. First let us get through all the important news. Okay. Challenges to biodiversity law will weaken it. Jairam Ramesh. Let's see. There is a parliamentary panel member. The parliamentary panel member flags exemptions given to Ayush practitioners. Okay. So there is an exemption given to whom? Ayush practitioners, and we'll see what kind of exemption is it. Okay. Has expressed concern over biological diversity amendment bill 2021, which is in final stage of consultation in joint parliamentary committee. He questioned the exemptions given to Ayush practitioner from the provisions of the law. Mr. Ramesh, who is a member of the committee, in letter addressed to other member and committee chairman person and BJP MP Sanjay Jaiswal, said that the exemptions could open law for abuse. The law was introduced in Parliament on December 16 last year by Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav and was referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee on December 20. The bill amends the Biological Diversity Act to simplify compliance required for domestic company. Okay. So what is the purpose of the bill? Amendment of the Biological Diversity Act to simplify compliance requirement for domestic purpose. Flagging the presentation made by the Environment Ministry last month before the committee, Mr. Ramesh said, the ministry is drawing a distinction between a registered Ayush practitioner and a company and exempting the former from the act. This is an artificial distinction since registered Ayush practitioners may well be having informal links with the collective which may or may not have company structure. This may well open doors for large scale exemptions. Okay. The government brought the amendment in this amendment because of the push from many Ayush companies. In 2016, Uttarakhand Biodiversity Board sent a notice to Divya Pharmacy run by Swami Ramdev and Acharya Balkrishna stating that it violated BD Act for using biological resources from the state for its Ayurvedic formulations without intimating the board, and that it was able to pay and assess the benefit sharing fee. The company has unsuccessfully challenged the board notice. Okay. Mr. Ramesh sounded an alarm on the distinction made in the law between cultivated biological diversity, forest-based biological diversity, and forest-based biological diversity. Okay. So he has also sounded an alarm on distinction made in the law between cultivated biodiversity means artificial biodiversity and forest-based biodiversity means natural biodiversity. It is not clear what is the basis of this distinction will be and whether it can be sustained in practice. He added, multiple provisions of the bill, he said, are aimed at diluting the authority of NBA. The appointment of 16 ex officio officers of the Government of India is one such, Mr. Ramesh said. The ministry says NBA approval is required only at time of commercialization of a patent and not at time of application for a patent. This is something that is very far-reaching implications. What the ministry says, NBA, National Biodiversity Authority approval is required only at time of commercialization of patent and not at time of application of patent. Okay, so when you are selling the patent, then only the approval of the NBA is required and not while you are applying. Okay, this is something that has very far-reaching implications. I can tell you with that that what will happen is that NBA approval at the time of commercialization will be reduced to formality and will become fait accompli. Okay, he wrote. So he says that these three provisions will dilute the very nature of the act, BD Act, right? To some extent he is right. Not only some extent, to many extent he is right. Okay. Let's see the next news. 1 in 6 global death in 2019 is linked to pollution. Who says this? Let's see. Lancet panel studies the impact on health. Pollution caused nearly 9 million deaths in 2019, or about 1 in 6 deaths worldwide. This number has remained effectively unchanged since the previous such analysis in 2015 by Lancet Commission on Pollution and Health, says report published in the Lancet Planetary Health on Wednesday. Though the number of deaths from pollution source associated with extreme poverty fell, these reductions are offset by increased death attributed to industrial pollution. The report said that noxious air killed 1.67 million Indians in 2019, or 18% of all fatalities. The health impact of pollution remains enormous, and low and middle income countries bear the brunt of this burden. Despite its enormous health, social and economic impact, pollution prevention is largely overlooked in international development agenda. Richard Fuller. Okay, the authors of the study conclude with 8 recommendations that builds on those given in the Lassen Commission on Pollution and Health. These includes call for intergovernmental panel on climate change, IPCC style science policy panel on pollution alongside increased funding for pollution control from government and donors and all the other stakeholders and collecting data, right? So you don't have to see everything here, you just have to know according to Lancet. You have to write in the examination according to Lancet report 2022, 1 in 6 global death in 2019 linked to pollution. After that you have to write which has remained same since 2015. Okay, this indicates two things. One, obviously pollution is increasing, and but people has somehow adjusted to pollution. No, don't see it like this. Okay, in absolute which remains same since in percentage term, but in absolute term increase, right? Yeah, okay, so this would do the job. Fine, let's see if any else news is left. I don't think. Okay, so we have done the news analysis for most important news with respect to our examination. Now let's see and understand the editorial sections, right? So this is our first editorial, Symbolism and Beyond. Now we know that our Prime Minister has recently visited Nepal, okay, and there he has inaugurated Buddhist center at Lumbini. Now the article says that the visit is useful as well as the purpose becomes limited, right? So he says that although the visit is useful, but it would be limited, right? We see how it is. India's current regime has penchant for symbolism and optics, a tendency that becomes more pronounced when symbolism is religious. So it was not surprised that Prime Minister made a short visit to Lumbini in Nepal on Buddha Jayanti. Lumbini, a Buddhist tradition, is in the Buddhist tradition birthplace of Gautam Buddha, and Mr. Modi, along with his Nepali counterpart, laid the foundation stone of India International Center for Buddhist Culture and Heritage in Lumbini Monastic Zone. The center will play a role in challenging the preponderance of Chinese sponsorship and patronage of Buddhism festival and institution in the area. It could be a harbinger for focused development of the area into tourist and cultural hub for pilgrimage and other visitors. To that end, PM visit would have been welcomed by his Nepali counterpart, with PM also unequivocally asserting that Lumbini was birthplace of Gautam Buddha, who was born as Siddhartha. This should put a rest to needless irritant in India-Nepal relation, with some hyper-nationalist Nepalis claiming that Indian government has different belief on Buddha's origin. The visit also coincided with the signing of few MOUs, the most prominent being development and implementation of Arun 4 hydropower project. The PM visit, followed by his counterpart trip to India in April, which thought the relationship after series of controversial steps during the tenure of Mr. Deva's President KP Oli on the Kala Pani dispute. Mr. Modi's speech in Lumbini sought to highlight the strong cultural ties between two countries which already share a special relationship cemented by Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1950. Fine. So Mr. Modi's speech in Lumbini sought to highlight the strong cultural ties between the two countries, right? There are several irritants that have developed staining this relationship, and for now there seems to be a concerted attempt by both regimes to return to bonhomie, with Indian government seeking to utilize religious diplomacy as means to emphasize the special relationship. But there has been significant change in Nepal's political economy, in particular a substantial reduction in Nepali youth dependence on Indian economy as compared to the past. Beyond the soft power emphasis on cultural ties, India-Nepal relations need to graduate up to a more meaningful partnership on economic and geopolitical issue, with Indian government continuing to sustain a sustainable role in partnering the Nepali regime in development project. The challenge is to utilize return of bonhomie in ties to refocus on work-related infrastructure development in Nepal, which includes hydropower projects, transportation and connectivity, which could be which will benefit the citizen of adjoining state as well. Symbolism, after all, useful only to a certain extent. Okay, so yes, the article is more or less correct that symbolism is obviously has a limitation, but and yes, the point stated is also correct that more or less Nepal has been playing China card with us. But yes, the fact is also true that Nepal shares a geography with us, and a natural boundary is shared between Nepal and China due to Himalayas and Tibet Plateau. Right. So overall, Nepal is like a part of Indian, in very integral part of Indian subcontinent, and if it artificially tries to join or become dependent on China, show dependence on China, then it may face a similar consequence as Pakistan and Sri Lanka are facing right now. So it is in best interest of India and Japan to come together and develop and work towards development of region. Okay, now let's see the next. Social science with multiple truth. Choosing a right answer from a set of multiple choices does not do justice to the subject and nuances of social issues. Why it is, I don't know. Let's see. I think it is, maybe it is related to education system, maybe. As educational institutions began reopening, there was a news of common university entrance test. Okay, unfortunately, measurable index for elimination and selections are becoming increasingly dependent on precision and objectivity, which is immensely worrisome for social sciences. Now I got it. So it is saying that objective type paper for social sciences may not be very effective way of judging the social science aptitude of a candidate. And yes, they are true. This is correct. The social science may not have, for a given experiment, the results may not be every time true for the same experiment as it is in case of the natural sciences. Like gravity will always pull things towards the center of the earth. This is the truth, right? But in social science, it's not required. Your gravity, the gravity of your personality may not pull everyone towards yourself. It may push some factor away from some person away from you. So it goes like this. In gray ambitious area, opening up spaces, no, it is not required then. Going beyond the syllabus, look, it is like article is like natural science versus social science, right? Or physical geography versus human geography. Geography optional people know this thing very well because they prepare it in perspectives chapter. Okay, so no need for them to read this. They can read this for some, maybe some example, but I don't think it is necessary because perspective chapter is a very different kind of chapter. We all know it is a very interesting chapter, but the content has to be from the viewpoint of the scholars only, right? And as far as other are concerned, I don't know about other optionals, but as far as GS is concerned, this does not hold any ground. So we won't be doing that. Let's see this one. Improving cold chain system. Okay, so robust cold chain system are an investment in India's future pandemic preparedness. Obviously, cold chain system will help us to better store vaccines, medicine. One thing is this, and second thing is with schemes like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, etc. Last mile connectivity can be reached. You understand it now? Connectivity possible. So what will happen? So vaccine reaches the person at the last mile or the person at the lowest rung of the society. So this will help us to what? Prepare better. This would help us to in 2 or 3 things. Preparedness. First thing is what? It will help us to prepare things better. The second one will be preparedness. After preparedness, response. Okay, and third is mitigation. Okay, in all 3 aspects this would help us out. Now with this background, you read this. Okay, I don't think anything else will be there. It would be talking about everything. The success of any suitable vaccination program relies on many factors. The key factor is cold chain management, because if it fails, the potential effectiveness of vaccine is wasted. Nearly half of the vaccine distributed around the world go in waste. Okay, in India, close to 20% of temperature sensitive healthcare products arrive damaged or degraded because of insufficient cold chain. Here, India has a strong foundation to build up. Okay. The health ministry has been digital and all those things are there. You give it a read. I don't think it would have. Yes, this can be a point. Use of cloud technology such as with electronic vaccine intelligence network, even developed with supplement from Gavi. Okay, what does it do? through a smartphone based app. The platform digitizes information on vaccine stock and temperature across the country. Okay, so this is the background for this. Okay, preparedness, you can say that storage easy, response, okay, accessibility easy, mitigation, effectiveness, restored means better recovery. In this way you can easily go for it, right? You have to understand what you have to get from the article. You cannot write each and every article everywhere in the examination. Just keep an eye on that, right? Now let's see text and context page. Gyanvapi and the Place of Worship Act. Let's read the gist first. The Supreme Court directed the District Magistrate of Varanasi to ensure protection of Gyanvapi Mosque complex where a shivling is said to have been found during the survey. Obviously, it is the duty of the district administration to at least keep the place safe, the disputed place safe, because if it is not safe, then maybe people may get killed, and that would be a defeat of our democracy, right? The Places of Worship Special Provision Act 1991 was enacted to freeze the status of all places of worship in the country as on August 15, 1947. Lawyers from Gyanvapi Mosque administration argued that ongoing civil case filed by Hindu devotee, okay, constitute an attempt to change the status of place of worship and violates the act. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad, however, contends that place of worship is not applicable to Gyanvapi issue as there was no change in the religious structure since 1947. Now this is a kind of paradox, I think, because, okay, we have to see this. How Hindu Mahasabha says, Vishwa Hindu Parishad says this. I don't understand this logic. We have to read this. Okay, story so far you all know, it is in news. Fine, a shivling has been found, and I've already told that what kind of questions are expected in prelims. In mains, what do you think? What kind of questions are expected? In my opinion, no questions are expected from this part. Just to understand the perspective, we are doing it, right? Okay. What does the Place of Worship Act says? March 2021, Supreme Court asked the Centre to respond with a petition that challenged Place of Worship Act 1991. The law was enacted to freeze the status of all places of worship in the country as on August 15, 1947. An exception was made for the Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi dispute out of the ambit as the structure was then subject to litigation. The dispute ended after court ruled on the land that should be handed over to Hindu community. The challenge of the act questioned the legality of prohibition it imposes on community laying claim to the places of worship of another. The act says that no person shall convert any place of worship or religious denomination into one of a different denomination or section. It contains a declaration that a place of worship shall continue to be as it was on August 15, 1947. Significantly, it prohibits any legal proceeding from being instituted regarding the character of the place of worship and declares it that all suits and appeal pending before any court or authority on the cut-off date regarding the conversion of character of place of worship shall await. In other words, all pending cases will come to an end and no further proceedings can be filed. However, any suit or proceeding related to any conversion of status that happened after the cut-off date can continue. However, any suit or proceeding related to any conversion of status that happened after the cut-off date continue. Okay. In which cases will the law not apply? Till 1991 Act will not. The 1991 Act will not apply in some cases. It will not apply to ancient and historical monuments and archaeological sites and remains that are covered by Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act 1958. It will also not apply to any suit that has been finally settled or disposed of. Any dispute that has been settled by the parties before 1991 Act came into force, or the conversion of any place that took place by acquiescence. The Act specifically exempted from its purview the place of worship commonly referred to at that time as Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid in Ayodhya. It was done to allow pending litigation to continue as well as to preserve the scope for negotiated settlement. Anyone contravening the prohibition on converting the status of place of worship is liable to be imposed up to 3 years or a fine. Okay. In the final verdict on Ayodhya dispute, the Supreme Court has observed that the Act imposes a non-derogable obligation towards enforcing our commitment to secularism. The court went on to say, non-retrogression is a foundational feature, a fundamental constitutional principle of which secularism is a core component. The court described the law as one of the preserved secularism by not permitting the status of place of worship to be altered after independence. In the words of caution against further attempt to change the character of place of the worship, the 5 judges Ben said, historical wrongs cannot be remedied by people taking the laws into their hand. In preserving the character of places of worship, Parliament has mandated no uncertain terms in history of wrong shall not be used as an instrument to oppose the present and time and future. Okay. How is the act likely to affect Gyanvapi proceeding? The lawyer from Gyanvapi Mosque administration also argued that ongoing civil case filed by Hindu devotees constitute an attempt to change the status of place of worship and violates the act. From entering litigation to orders such as appointing commission to conduct a survey itself and latest order to seal off the portion following the claim that Shivlinga has been found are all contrary to 1991 Act. Maybe it may be contrary to 1991 Act, but the other party should understand this, that if a Shivlinga has been found, then that place becomes disputed, not because of that temple mosque issue. It is disputed. Why? Because people sentiments are there, okay, and these sentiments can turn into anger and it can turn into violence. So to stop this violence, taking a preemptive measure and stopping this violence requires the administration to at least temporarily seal off the place so that no one is allowed there. If no one goes there, then no one knows there what is there, and if no one knows what is there, then this violence can be restricted. This is the basic or cardinal principle that is being followed. Okay. The VHP, however, contends that Place of Worship Act is not applicable to Gyanvapi issue, as there was no change in religious structure since 1947 and the Hindus have always been performing puja at the site. Yes. The outcome of the case will depend upon whether court deemed proceeding contrary to act or rule that it is not applicable. Okay. So it is under proceeding. Let's see what happens. But as for now, you must understand one thing. This is not important for your UPSC. It will become important once the decision has been come. A very major decision comes, right, to break up the mosque or break up the temple or something like this. Then it will become important from mains point of view. From prelim point of view, the architectural feature of the temple, architectural aspects of both temple and mosque is important. Okay, you have to understand this. So always try to see things in larger perspective, because UPSC asks for a larger perspective. So boon to ban, how the wheat export story changed in 2 months. Let's read the gist first. As Russia and Ukraine, the largest exporter of wheat, were at war, India has been looking forward to fill the gap. However, food security campaigners insisted on cautious approach. They argued that ensuring stability of prices and availability of grain for internal consumption should be top 2 priorities. Yes, sure. The extreme temperature recorded in March and April across North India were region behind sudden turnaround for the government, forcing them to ban wheat. Yes, this is also true. So you understand. So there are 2 factors. There are food security factor, and the other is food security plus nutritional factor, of course. And what is the other? The other is geographical or meteorological factors. Okay, higher temperature. Here it is. What led to decreased production? The extreme temperatures of March and April were the reason behind sudden turnaround. For instance, across Punjab, maximum temperature was 6 degree higher. The actual maximum temperature has been over 40 degree mark across state in April. Okay. So down the average yield of 19.7. Okay, so this time it per hectare 1.7 what it is quintal fall is there, which is a very big fall. Okay, so this is it. I don't think anything else is important there. So why this ban has been there? 2 factors: food plus nutritional security. Actually 3 factors you have to say: price taming in domestic market, and third is availability affected due to meteorological factors, right? So this is, we have to understand, and I don't think anything else is left in this article. So let's see the next thing. Okay, now with this we come to end of today's newspaper analysis. Your homework is as usual, write in comment box which article you will use as case study or example in which type of questions. Okay, I read each and every article, each and every comment, right? And before closing this today's session, let me remind you to subscribe the channel. Okay, look, if you subscribe the channel, you will get exam related understandings, okay, of the news. Not every news is important. I often see these many videos on YouTube that are analyzing news for the sake of analysis. That is not required. The examination is very easy if you understand the premises of the examination, and we are not doing it for likes and views. We are doing it so that even one person who wants to understand the examination perspective, the premises of the examination. If one person is also getting benefited from our exercise, then we'll continue to do it. It is not for view, it is not for likes, it has never been for those things, or else I would have tried to make it more dramatic. But no, I always try to keep it simple within the permissible time limit, so that the crux is understood and what to write in the examination is taken out of the newspaper, right? So this is a obviously no nonsense, okay, no nonsense session regarding newspaper. No dramatic things are there, nothing. A simple reading of the newspaper that is required on behalf of an aspirant of civil services examination. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that. Our intent is to clear the civil services examination. If you are giving your 2022 attempt, well and good. If you are not giving your 2022 attempt, I urge you to give the 2023 attempt, okay? And trust me, that will be very beneficial. If you go through these lessons for a period of 6, 7, 8 months, it would be a very beneficial thing for you. You will not be afraid of mains, okay? You will be having enough data for mains. You don't have to join any QEP type of thing, quality enhancement program, that I often see the coaching institute have come up with today. Sir, if you don't know how to filter the content, how would you ever think that you are going to make it through the civil service examination? No sir, the premises of the examination is very big, and it is said that everything under the sun you have to read and understand, right? So it is your duty to first try to sharpen your tool of filtering out things, what is needed and what is not, and when you have developed that tool, then apply it and get the best out of newspaper. Why is newspaper one of the biggest challenge of all the aspirants in this examination? This is because the important skill of gauging out the things that are not required and taking up only the things that are required is missing in people. And that's why we see that in mains people generally don't get marks, right? Even prelims has become so dicey, and after that due to non-reading of newspaper, people are making mains also dicey. So it is in best interest of all the person here who are actually preparing, that a newspaper reading initiative should be taken. We have taken the initiative, you just help us out, okay? And this is what at least you all can do, right? So on this note, I am wrapping up today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, cut. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Follow us on Telegram as well. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams, and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard.